Joining us now, a former member of Israel's parliament, the Knesset, former elite anti-tank unit commander with the Israeli Defense Forces. He's Erel Margalit. Erel, thanks for coming to us live from Jerusalem. So your reaction to this, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on. So White House spokesman John Kirby denounced the Hamas leader who went on television and said Israel can expect a 10/7, October 7 massacre again and again and again until Israel is annihilated. When you heard him say that, what was your reaction?
Well, you know, it's the determination in Israel is really strong because of such comments and because of the massacre that you guys spoke about in the beginning of the show. And when people are seeing the killings, the murdering, the terror of women, of children, beheading people, young people at a party, it's unbelievable. And you ask yourself, where do they have all this power? Where do they have all this money? Where do they have all these ammunition for? Well, Hamas is funded in a very big way. It's the second largest, richest terror organization in the world after ISIS. It has about $2.5 billion of annual budget, which is about 70% of the GDP. That basically goes for weapons, for missiles, for drones against Israel, for the kind of ammunition that they are using, that they've used in one massacre, they want to use in another massacre. And we need to understand, we in Israel are determined to go after them because of their ideology and what they are doing. They are determined to wipe out Israel, and we're not going to allow anybody to do that. And so our forces are fighting very strongly on the streets in 3 levels, underground, overground, with the buildings over the ground. It's very difficult warfare, but they are going from one tunnel after the other. They are in Gaza City, and they're taking one stand after the other.
You know, Erel, Hamas leaders are similar to al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden, who lived in luxury while ordering suicide bombers to do his dirty work. I mean, Erel, we've seen reports that Hamas terrorist leaders built a secret financial empire. You noted billions of dollars to spend not on the people of Gaza. 80% live in poverty, half are out of a job, but on attacking Israel and on their jet-setting lifestyles abroad. Washington Post and what Palestinian officials have said, they have fled to live lives of luxury in hotels and villas abroad in places like Doha, Beirut, and Istanbul, and they're overtaxing the people of Gaza. What do you make of this?
That's true. I mean, remember, Israel withdrew. People don't understand that around the world. Israel had an internal debate within our society. We withdrew from Gaza. We gave Gaza to the Gazans in order to build a country, to build a society. The money that Hamas, once they took over, the money that has gotten into Gaza has all been used for ammunition, rockets, and missiles against Israel. Now, the Hamas leaders themselves, Khaled Mashal, he lives in Qatar. Some of the other leaders live outside of the Gazan border. Some of them, they say they're billionaires, millionaires. He was traveling today on a private jet to Iran in order to speak to them. So what I'm saying is that they're not seeing the people of Gaza. They're not seeing the people of Gaza when we're coming in because they're not allowing them to be evacuated. They're insisting that they stay in their homes. They're building their bases out underneath hospitals, underneath schools, underneath mosques, inside the population. And what we're trying to do, we have no quarrel with many of the Gazan people themselves. I was in the parliament, and we opened up the gates and allowed 30,000 people from Gaza to work in Israel every day. We want them to make a living. We want the Gazan people who want to live next to Israel to be successful. But we don't want people to then take after Hamas in order to turn an entire society into a terrorist society against Israel. So we're saying...
Erel, did you see the footage of the 10/7 massacre?
I did. Some of it, and it's horrible. I mean, my family, myself, we saw pieces of it. It's unbelievable. It's so cruel. It is so cruel that you cannot believe it.
Got it. Erel Margalit, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
And maybe just one more word, because as we're speaking, Israeli companies and Arab countries are working together to stop the terror and to stop the money. The money is the issue behind the weapons, and we need to work together. Israel, the U.S., the countries here in the region in order to stop the funding of this terrorist organization,
Got it.
because the money makes them go, and we need to stop it.
Thank you so much. It's good to have you on.